Now, since 2013, Honda have sold over 3.8 million of their popular HR-V SUVs, and now there's an all-new car coming along, but Honda are rolling the dice here because it's going for revolution, not evolution. We've got some exclusive access to one of the first pre-production prototypes to hit the UK shores, so let's take a look around. Let's kick off with design, because this car is a big departure from what came before it. And in fact, it's a bit of a departure from what the whole market segment's doing at the moment, because everyone else seems really caught up on being a bit attention-seeking. Vivid colours, sticker packs, enormous grilles. This car knows the power of the understatement. A bit like an iPhone, there's no sharp edges. It's subtle creases that highlight the overall design. It's chamfered edges. And it's that lack of continuously needing to seek attention that actually makes this thing a really confident design. Take a look at these slimline LED lights here that give the car a really dynamic down the road look. They're quite minimalist though. Something else that's minimalist is the grille. Okay, it's sizable, but it's not some big status symbol like it is on every other SUV out there. It's body coloured. It's just about characterful enough, but it's generally quite polite about the way it goes about things. Of course, there are some premium touches with glossy lips and some snazzy two-tone alloy wheels on this specific car. This new HR-V actually sits 10mm taller than its predecessor and features some quite prominent plastic cladding to give it a more rugged look, though there's no real off-roading pretenses here, though actually you can have hill descent control fitted to this car. While that ride height has increased, overall height has been reduced by 20mm, and the overall footprint of the car is near identical to the one that came before it. In a world where cars are getting bigger and it seems that parking spaces are getting ever smaller, it's nice to know that this doesn't follow the trend. Follow the glasshouse along and its tapering window line to get to its sloped rear end. The slimline lights return, and a prominent body crease running along its width serves as a final signature. While clearly a sensible family SUV, designers have had a little bit of fun here as we've discovered an Easter egg or two dotted around the car. So what about what actually powers this car? What is under the bonnet? Well, the big news for the HR-V this year is that it's hybrid only. A bit like the Jazz, you won't be able to get a standard standalone combustion engine. There's a 1.5 litre four-cylinder petrol engine that combines with two electrical motors and the onboard battery. In terms of transmission options, you'll be looking at a standard CVT. Now combined, it produces 129 brake horsepower and 253 Newton meters of torque, and whilst Honda haven't released any 0 to 60 figures, that should be perfectly adequate for urban living. What's more interesting is that the petrol engine hardly ever powers the car. You see, it serves more as a generator than anything, topping up the battery or kicking in when the car needs its maximum performance. That's not only a very efficient way of doing things, but it's good news for your bank balance and the environment as well. Now, just like its bigger brother, the CR-V, there's a series of selectable drive modes, including a pure EV function for whenever you are trundling around town. And in its most efficient mode, it aims to gain the most from things like regenerative braking to put power back into the battery that would otherwise be lost. Honda is aiming for its entire range in the UK to be electrified by the year 2025, which isn't actually all that far away. So this hybrid HR-V will play a very big role in its plans. At this moment in time, Honda are playing things close to their chest, not revealing things like MPG or economy figures, though that will come in due course. What we do know more about is the interior. This quite dramatic transition from old to new continues on the inside, where Honda have quite purposely gone for a minimalistic design to amplify a sense of space in the interior. The nice clean dashboard is narrated by horizontal vents drawing your eye along as opposed to down the console, with soft touch materials forging what you see before you. There are definitely some harder, scratchier plastics to be found around the interior, but it does promote a general sense of durability. Remember, this car is going to have to deal with everything from endless slamming of doors, mucky children's shoes, and drinks bottles clobbering the interior quite intensively. The main focal point is this new 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system that runs the latest version of Honda's own software. Now, whilst we found this to be not particularly ergonomic in the past, we hope for a big improvement here. In fact, Honda says that it's up to 50% faster than before, and we're pleased to report that it comes standard with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But something that puts an even bigger smile on my face is the fact that Honda have actually kept some physical buttons on the dashboard. I mean, how many times of late have we complained about air conditioning controls being hidden within menus and menus and menus and just being a big distraction whilst you're trying to adjust them whilst driving? Here we've got some tactility with some nice metal knurling around the edge of it as well. Our car manufacturers finally starting to learn their lesson that we don't want everything on a touch surface. Speaking of screens, there's a 7-inch TFT monitor integrated into the instrument binnacle. They'll display all sorts of driving data and graphics, and it's customizable to exactly what the driver wants to see. Of course, from behind the wheel, you'll enjoy that inherent raised driving position that SUVs possess. And on first inspection, there's plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel and the seat, meaning that all shapes and sizes should be able to get comfortable here. One seemingly unimportant detail that the HR-V has is a full-size glove box, which is something that some other competitors should take note of. Naming no names. Peugeot. Now, space really is the final frontier for this new HR-V because there's plenty of it. Okay, that slightly sloping roofline can become a bit intrusive if you're on the tall side. However, look at the legroom. I mean, truly generous for this sort of car. But better yet is the introduction of Honda's innovative Magic Seats, which allow you to fold the rear passenger seats up like cinema seats, giving you this huge load area where you can fit all sorts of bulky items and keep the dog totally separate in the boot. Now, a lot of this practicality comes courtesy of how Honda engineers have actually packaged the HR-V. For example, the battery pack sits underneath the boot floor so it doesn't intrude upon interior space. The boot itself has a nice wide aperture which makes loading things in and out nice and easy. There's a low load lip and a little bit of underfloor storage here too. While Honda haven't officially revealed how much volume lives back here, to this road tester's eyes it looks bigger than many competitors, things like a Peugeot 2008. However, I don't have official figures, I do have a tape measure. I can tell you that the square area is 104 centimetres in width and 76 centimetres in length. But if you want even more space, you can make use of the handy 60/40 split folding rear bench. Fold these flat and the space is absolutely cavernous. Again, we don't have official figures, but we can see that it fits things like mountain bikes and boxes and bags, and will be ample for those trips to the tip when you inevitably get round to clearing out the garage. Now, there are some key pieces of information on the HR-V that we don't have at the moment that will be given at a later date, but what we do know is that this car will hit showrooms later in 2021, and we should get behind the wheel before then to deliver a full verdict to you. In the meantime, for more on the HR-V or any of its rivals, make sure you head to YesAuto.com. Head to YesAuto.com for the latest car news and reviews, and don't forget to check us out on social media. We're in all the usual places such as Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Simply search for YesAuto.